Cheers. Welcome into the Bitcoin Crypto Happy Hour. I'm having a cinnamon whiskey from a distillery. Um, Let me know if the audio is coming in good, please. I'm having a some cinnamon whiskey from a distillery up in either I think it was in Georgia or South Carolina. I forget. Burnt Distillery for anybody who's familiar in that area. Burnt Distillery. Um, oh, this is what happens when I don't have the home office. So thank you to everybody who is tuning in. Um, Thank you for YC for confirming. I don't have my clicker button. I don't know what happened to it. So I have some exciting news, and that is that I will be back in my regular setup, my home office, by next week. So I am very excited. I'm very excited to get my home office back because as much as I love being where I'm at right now, um, I don't have my traditional setup. So I know the video and the audio quality isn't as good. But let me know. This is a happy hour, so let me know what you guys are having for your happy hour this evening. This cinnamon whiskey is very smooth, very easy to just sip. Um, at some point, I'm going to have probably some sort of formal announcement. I'll put a little YouTube video together and maybe make that announcement and share some plans for some changes to the channel on an ongoing basis. I think one of the things that I'm considering, just to make everyone aware, to keep everyone abreast, um, the 13-year-old child in me will never die. To keep everyone abreast, one of the things I am considering doing is cutting back on the live streams and doing more TA videos. And I'll share why. Essentially, and I'll explain more once I actually reach a definitive point when I start making changes to the channel. But essentially, it takes a lot of these videos. They take more work than you might think to put together, and especially for the live streams. I feel like a lot of the times the live streams actually take a lot more effort than putting together like a 8 minute or 10 minute TA video. And if you go to my channel, you'll see that the TA videos get a lot higher um, viewer viewer rates and watchers on those videos versus the TA, right? And again, for a guy who has a full-time job, I have a job that's pretty involved. Like I said, I'm a managing actuary, so I do a lot of fun, nerdy, geeky stuff on the math side. I do all this, and I have a personal life too. And I do all of this stuff on the side. It's time consuming, so I want to make sure that the content I'm putting out there um, is the most value added that it can be. So for me personally, I love doing the live streams. Like I love coming on here and chatting with everyone in the chat box and doing all that. But for now, I think based on the viewers and based on the total viewer count, I think I'm going to focus a little bit more on TA videos and go cut back on the live streaming. But I don't know what that specifically looks like. So just a heads up there. But um, I didn't have too many agenda items for today's Bitcoin crypto happy hour. So we'll get into, I think I had to ask for ideas actually. I was struggling to come up with what the best idea is, and we'll talk about a few different things that I came up with on my own. But I think I got only one reply, um, which was to discuss the Holy Crypto Trinity. Yes, from Randy here. Of course, I got a Digibyte. This is all random. I can't wait for that TNA. All right, so I guess people wanting me to discuss certain projects here, but um, yeah, I wanted to first get into the crux of the title of the live stream, and that was Bitcoin 69. If anyone's going to 69, it might as well be Bitcoin, right? So, what do I mean by Bitcoin 69? Well, an interesting fact, when you look at the charts for so long, hey, H bar is up 10%. When you look at the charts for so long, you discover unique, fun things. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Let's get this 200 simple moving average off. Let's zoom that up. The all-time high in Bitcoin, as you can see in the upper sort of center left-hand side of my screen, is 69,000. And if we look at how far we've corrected to where we're currently at, um, interestingly enough, it brings us to around 69%. As you can see here, 69% at the top of 69. So that's all I meant by 69. It's really interesting that we topped at 69 and we had 69%. So um, correction of where we're at right now. But you know, I uh I continue to read things and see things that leave me feeling very convicted that more than likely, and I had tweeted this out earlier, that really more than likely what we are experiencing right now is a disbelief rally. That this correction, now this doesn't look like a lot. Like if you're looking at my screen, this doesn't really look like a lot, but this was a lot of fucking time. A lot of fucking time. This correction started in November of 21, okay? And here we're sitting in January of 23. So we've had this, really, this was the start of the correction right here. Because if you believe this was an A, B, C extended flat correction, really the correction started here. But we did create a technical, um, you could look at it as a technical double top, but we created a new all-time high right here. So the market, if you think about the sentiment of the market and emotionally where the retail investor was at, this period right here after we had topped in like May to April, okay, this got real salty in here. I remember this time period very well. Then we saw some relief finally come into the market and it got everyone's hopes up. And then we got even much, 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 much worse in price and much saltier. So, I mean, market sentiment, I have never experienced market sentiment this low. And again, guys, I've been in this space educating myself since 2017. I've personally been invested since early 18. None of the corrections I experienced in 18 and 19 and 20 were anything similar to this. I mean, this has been the most devastating and emotionally draining correction for the retail space. And so I think the result of that is that when we do start to validate that this is more than a dead cat bounce and it's actually the beginnings of a relief rally taking us into what I believe will be our fifth and final wave this year, people are going to be late to the party. Okay. I, on the opposite side, was late to the party that this was a massive correction. I did not, this caught me off guard, right? Well, in the similar fashion, I think there are way too many people that are going to be late to the party of when this thing actually rallies and we're up towards, 30, 40, 50,000. Okay. And I spoke on the last live stream. When would I start feeling convicted that things are definitively, with, I think I said 85% confidence, we're going to set new all time highs. I spoke to this 48,200 level. Okay. Staying above that level is really what would ultimately leave me feeling convicted that we're going to be creating new all time highs. Um, but I think that really there's there's still such a high degree of people who are calling for $10,000 Bitcoin and below, which I mean I find absurd at this point. I think the probability of that is extremely low. There's a probability for everything, but I think it's extremely low that we're going to go to $10,000 or lower at this point. And I think again, I just think the emotion of the market is such that um, so many people are really going to miss out. And really, in my opinion, if you haven't been accumulating in these ranges down here, you have massive you've had your opportunity to accumulate for over 6 months. Okay, you've had your opportunity to accumulate at very, very, very low prices. No one can pick a perfect bottom and no one can call a perfect top, but these prices, again, based off of all the charts that I've shared, the data science models I've shared, charts and data science models that I've retweeted on Twitter. If you're not following me here at Crypto Bull God here, I'm on there. I'm pretty active on Twitter. Um, all of these models were suggesting that while they didn't definitively call a bottom, what they were telling us is that it was, for an investor, it was just a massively opportune time to invest. And yeah, I just think market sentiment is so low. And then you also have people, I mean, I don't know if you guys caught Jim Cramer has been relentless on calling crypto a scam and calling Bitcoin a scam, and it's been pretty outrageous. And the funny thing is, when you look at it, he was so into crypto at the heights, right? He's literally is the epitome of the retail investor. And I think, if I had to take an educated guess, I think what happened was he he got a lot of people burned. He was so excited about this space. He endorsed FTX, and his reputation got a little tarnished by what happened. And so I think that he's very salty about that. And so he's forever bearish until proven otherwise. And I think for people, I don't think he's keeping people out of the market. That's not my view. I think it's people's own responsibility to do their due diligence and invest. But I think he's certainly not a good representation of what it means to speak accurately and fairly of the market. I mean, Jamie Dimon's another one. I mean, if you saw a recent interview by him, he's still calling Bitcoin a scam. He doesn't think that Bitcoin has a fixed supply, and Satoshi Nakamoto could come out of nowhere and um, increase the supply of Bitcoin, which is obviously a false statement for anyone who's familiar with um, how the consensus algorithm works. Knows that that's just an absurd statement. But again, most people, and I work with very very intelligent people. They're a great example. Even people who are very brilliant and intelligent, more intelligent than me, they don't understand the basic concepts of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies and hashgraph technology because they haven't spent the time to study it. It can be very complicated, but they were very early. They haven't spent the time. And so when they hear statements from a prominent banker like that, a lot of people just gravitate towards it and believe it, right? Even if it's kind of out of left field, it makes absolutely no sense. There's no concrete evidence behind what that individual is saying. Let's see what comments we got in the early going here. Good to see you in YC. Uh, Kevin, good to see you, man. It's been a long time. I haven't seen your name in a while. It's good to see you. On a side note, have you seen any correlation to a bull run in crypto when the DXY stays below the 200 DMA? I think you mean SMA, simple moving average. Yes, the S and D keys are located very closely on the keyboard. So I think you meant 200 SMA. Every time this has happened, we run. So you're saying, have you ever noticed a correlation to a bull run in crypto when the DXY stays below the 200 simple moving average? What time frame are you referring to? We can take a look at it together, YC. I haven't paid particular attention to that. Are you talking on the weekly? Are you talking about the weekly time frame and when the DXY is below the 200 SMA on the weekly? Or are you talking about the daily? I would think weekly. But clarify, we can take a look at it together. The other clarifying statement I wanted to make for you guys, and this is very important as I'm waiting to hear back from YC on what time frame to look at. You guys need to be very mindful. I think in order for you to be financially successful, okay, um, I'm hoping that the majority of everyone that's tuning in right now is a you believe weekly. We'll take a look at it. I I hope that most people who are subscribed to this channel and who follow me and are listening right now are investors and they believe in the space. And so, as an investor, one of the things you should ask yourself is, okay, so I'm an investor. What does that actually mean? I'm invested for the long term, right? I'm invested for what, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? What does that look like? But if you are invested and you're willing to hold these assets for an extended period of time, you this is imperative to your success, to your financial success. You need to recognize that as much as you love this space and as much promise as there is, and I am right there with you, um, this financial technology or fintech space offers so much to the world from a disruptive standpoint. You also have to understand from an investment perspective that this is a very volatile space. So, one of the things I had tweeted out, which I'm now going to clarify, someone asked me to clarify this, and I will. I said, expect, okay, be very mindful of this. Expect that on the way up, as much as we're going to see massive runs up, if I'm saying there's going to be new all-time highs this year, okay, in 2023, I want you to think about that. If you look at this chart, that only gives us until now. This time frame right here, right? We only have until January of 2024, right? So we have all this time to dilly-dally around, right? So in order to make large price movements up within the next 11 and a half months, there have to be massive moves up, right? Massive moves up in price. We can't just be teetering, tottering down here for the next 6 months, okay? So the point of what I was saying is be ready for large moves up, but also be ready for large corrections. And let me give you an example of what I mean. We can't just linearly move up in a straight line and expect price not to decrease, right? If prices in any asset have a volatile move up, a very sharp incline up, at some point they're either going to massively correct, okay? They got overextended and they're going to go through a massive correction, or they're going to have what's known as a healthy pullback. And that's what I mean. They're just going to have a healthy pullback. Let's go back to a couple different time periods. Let's go back to 2020 and 21 and let's look at this zone right here. It may not look like a large correction, but let's look at the percentage. From January through, really, it was just, look at this, just 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, okay? Now we went on, again, we went on a massive run, okay? We were hovering around like 10,000 and we shot up to over 60,000, okay? So we did more than a 6x once price had stabilized down here. What's up, Steady? Good to see you in here, brother. But I want to show you what happened in January within the span of 3 weeks. This is what I mean by a sharp correction. And this is how people get weeded out. We did roughly a 31% correction. Okay. In 3 weeks, we did roughly a 31% correction. Okay. So 31%. And then after we had the 31% correction, okay, we went up another staggering 112%. Okay. This is a great example of what I mean by sharp declines on a sharp rise in price. And this is what you need to be prepared for. Let me give you one more example, and then I'll speak to what you should be thinking to yourself to be best prepared for this. This is back in 2017, leading to our blow off top at the end of 17 and when crypto had topped in early 18. When XRP shot up over to $3.54 or 85 cents, depending what exchange you looked on. So here's a great example. Now again, if you rode prices out, once prices sort of stabilized, if we come back here, once prices stabilized, we went from around $400 up to 20,000. Okay, so that's a 40x. I'm not good with math, but that's about a 40x. So if we just take a look as an example, let's take a look at this correction. Okay, this is back in, I'm spitting all over my laptop. This is back in 16 actually. Now in a span of, it looks like, I don't know, like 8 weeks, we came down 40%. Okay, let's go to another area right here. In a span of 3 weeks in March of 17, okay, we came down 34%. Okay, and just one more to illustrate my point, and then I'll get to what you really need to consider. Okay, this was in the span of, it looks like 5 weeks. Okay, we went from June of 17, yeah, 39%, about 39% starting in June of 17, spent about 5 weeks. We went down 39%. So you're looking at these, roughly 30 to 40% corrections. And that sounds like a lot. It is. And those are the sorts of corrections that if you don't know what you're doing, and it's one thing, guys, hear me out here. It's one thing to look back on this in time. Hindsight is 2020. It's always 2020. It's easy to look back on this and be like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, CBG, look, we were in a parabola, see? So, I mean, I wouldn't have sold. Yeah, well, I got news for you, okay? If what's going on today is an example, okay? If what's going on today, if I am correct in ascertaining that this is an expanded flat correction, okay? It's easy hindsight 2020 once price starts doing this to go, oh, well, this is just a correction. I mean, like I sold out here and then I bought in here. It's easy to look back on the charts and say that. But when you're in the moment, if you're emotionally invested, okay, you can make some very serious mistakes. And all of us as humans have some degree of emotion when investing. I have some degree of emotion when investing. That's just being transparent and honest. As I feel as great as I've gotten as removing emotion from investing, there's still some degree of emotion when I invest. Wow, H bar is up 14%. Speaking of emotion, go H barbarians, go. Wish I had my clicker. Um, but I've gotten much better at controlling those emotions. Okay. Emotion is a money killer. As robotic as you can be in making your investment decisions, it's going to benefit you. So what you need to do, okay, what you need to do to, you'll never 100% reduce the risk, but what you can do to really reduce that risk and result in an increased likelihood that you will be successful in investing, you need to determine right now um, what your game plan is. And what your game plan should consist of is, what price levels do I want to scale out at? You should have a good idea right now as Bitcoin starts to run up, if it starts to run up as I believe it's going to this year. What price levels do I want to scale at? And that doesn't mean selling. Let's say you own like 10 Bitcoin. Okay, you're doing pretty well for yourself. You have $210,000. You're doing pretty fucking well for yourself. So you got 10 Bitcoin on you. Determining your investment strategy doesn't mean, wow, when Bitcoin gets up to 48,200, since that's a key level of resistance, I'm just going to sell it all then, and then I'm going to wait for a correction to 33,000. That is one of the dumbest things that you can do, okay? I'm telling you, you can't outsmart the market. One of the greatest things that happened to me throughout my time period in investing, trading, okay, I've tried day trading before. I didn't like it. I wasn't very good at it. Um, One of the things I learned from that is that you will get humbled by the market. You need to respect the market. You, as an individual, I'm sure, are a very intelligent individual. You're very smart. You know, we're all gifted in many ways, but the market is made up of so many different things: robotics, computers, manipulation, smart traders, investors. There's so much emotion and so much baked into those charts that trying to fight against that is a losing battle. You have to learn how to navigate the markets. It's not about outsmarting the market. You never want to think to yourself that you can outsmart the market, that you're going to sell 100% of your position at 48.2 and buy 100% of your position at 33. That is how you will fucking lose. That's not the strategy that you want to have. What you want to think to yourself is, how can I navigate the markets? And the way that you can, in my opinion, best navigate these markets, you come up with a sell strategy based on specified levels to scale out of your investment. Let me give you an example. So, not to steal thunder from a video that I plan to put out next week, but let's say hypothetically that I feel that Harmony 1, many people feel that project's dead. I do not. Let's say that I have a hypothesis, an educated hypothesis, that Harmony 1 will hit $1. Dollar's that old psychological level, right? Just for purposes of conversation, to make the conversation easy, let's say that's my view. One will ultimately hit around $1. Okay. Well, I mean, a smart strategy on my part would be to begin scaling out of my investment before $1. Maybe I sell some at 69 cents. The thumbnail, 69. Maybe I sell a portion at 73 cents, 79 cents, 84 cents, 93 cents, 97 cents. There's a couple schools of thought there. First off, you want to scale out of your investment based on your own risk tolerance level. If you want to be more risky, you're going to sell a smaller position at lower price levels. If you're more risk adverse, okay, and you want to sell out at higher levels, you're going to sell really small levels at those lower price levels, and you're going to be more aggressive as we get closer to $1 and holding it beyond $1 if it goes beyond $1, right? The other thing to keep in mind, and this is a very key point, guys and girls, pay attention to this point because it's very critical. There are psychological levels on the chart. $1 is a psychological level. 90 cents, psychological level. If you believe that Harmony One is going to hit $1, you better, as if one of your exit points is $1, if you want to sell, let's say you want to sell like 20% of your position at $1, you better well set that position under $1. That's a psychological level. You better set it at 99 cents, 98.9 cents, whatever. Sell it under $1. Those psychological levels often don't get hit because smart market makers get in there and they start aggressively selling before those psychological levels. Okay? Again, this isn't shit I'm pulling out of my ass right now. This is stuff I have learned. Okay? Again, I took professional trading or professional chart reading classes back in 2016. These were all the things I learned through those courses, and what I learned when I paper traded and what I learned when I actually traded. Okay. So whether you're trading or investing, it's all the same in the sense that you're buying and selling. So you want to make sure that you're not selling your crypto asset at an exact dollar amount that's a psychological level or where you deem to buy or where you deem to sell. It's the same thing when buying, right? Let's say that you think XRP is going to, it's having a pretty good day today. It's up 3.833%. Let's say that you think XRP might retrace to 33 cents. Okay, 33 cents. So you're like, all right, cool. So I'm going to like set up all my buy orders for 33 cents. That's the dumbest thing that you can do. No offense. Again, I've learned from this. What you want to do is you want to scale in entries at maybe 33.3 cents or 33.2 cents or 33.1 cents. Because everyone, if you've identified a key area of support where everyone wants to buy, all the market makers, all the smart market makers are going to jump that 33 cents and set their buy orders ahead of that. Do you follow? So there's so much involved with having a successful buy and sell strategy to be successful financially, which will set you up for the highest level of success. The reality is, and thank you for everyone new tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Okay, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notification, and drop me some comments here. I'm going to get to those shortly. The key here is, look, if you are invested for crypto for the long term, okay, and you also, whether it's 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or a year or 10 years, whatever the case is, I feel very confident in saying that from a technological standpoint, there's a lot of disruptive forms of technology that we're very early in, and I think it's very beneficial and will benefit you ultimately financially to be invested for the long term. These assets are going to outpace traditional investments in the equity markets. I feel very confident making that statement. However, what you want to do is you want to set up a strategy for yourself to maximize the opportunity at hand, right? Do you want to do average? Do you want to do average for yourself or subpar? Or do you want to do better than average? Do you want to be up with people who are more elite, people who really take the bull by the horns and maximize the opportunity at hand, right? Meaning, if you have an average, let me put it in dollar figures for you, okay? So based on your investments, if you had an average investment strategy and you were invested for the long term and you sort of just market sold everything whenever you sold it, you didn't really know, but things sort of just felt hot and you just started selling stuff. Would you rather make $100,000 or would you rather make 150 or $200,000? Those are and that's the level of difference we're talking about here between being just average and being really successful. People who can read a chart and people who can't read a chart. I commented the other day, I was on Twitter, and there was a guy very prominent YouTuber who I'm subscribed to, and I'm sure everyone here is, or most of you are. No knock against the guy. He does a nice job. He does a nice job at covering the news events. The crypto bull goddess is tired of hearing his voice in the morning and at night. But so I listen to him all the time because he does a really nice job of getting me current. Look, I have a 9 to 5. right? I have a busy job. I'm busy at work. I don't have time to do this stuff all day. So he does a nice job of quickly recapping things. And whether I agree or disagree with his opinion, I think he's well spoken. I think he's knowledgeable. I think he does a good job of representing the space. Okay. But what he doesn't do is stay in his lane. He doesn't stay in his lane. When he starts commenting about TA, he doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. And it's very evident to me that he does not know technical analysis. He hasn't taken any technical analysis classes and he poo poos on it. He uses it when he benefits the bullish side and he poo poos on it other times. But the whole point of this is, of me bringing this up, is I don't understand how you can have an effective buy sell strategy and maximize your investment returns if you can't read a chart and you don't come up with an unemotional, logical buy sell strategy. Okay? Here are my scale out in. Here are my scale out points. Here are my buy-in points. And I'm going to make sure not to buy and sell at psychological levels. I'm going to be a smart market maker. I am going to get in there, and if the price is saying $1, if Harmony One's going up to $1, fuck, I'm selling out at 89.93 cents. I'm not going to squabble over 5%, 7%, 10%. I'm gonna try to maximize what I can get out of this. Hold on to a little bit, see if it can run. Based on my risk profile, based on how risk averse I am. Maybe I let a portion of it run, see how high I can go. But having that strategy, I'm telling you, having that strategy now, and then I'm going to get to the questions here and we'll get into a couple charts. Look, knowing that strategy now is going to benefit you because one of the things that I have spoken, another thing I've spoken to is that people often forget, especially when it's gotten so salty in the market, okay? When this bull market resumes and it picks up, it happens quickly. Look how quickly, I don't think this is a dead cat bounce. Look how quickly Bitcoin went from roughly $16,000 up to $21,000. If we just take this level right here and zoom up to here, we did a 34% move in 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, excuse me. So in 2 months, we did a 34% move. Okay, basically in 2 months, we did a 34% move. That's nothing. That when this parabola, because it will end up being a parabola, when the parabola ends up really picking up steam, you'll be doing 34% moves in a week. I mean, this shit, if you go back, this isn't me making up numbers. I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm giving you factual information. If you go back in history and you study, look, let's go back in time and just do one period of time, okay? This move here, which was our wave 3 movement, okay? Once we recovered and price stabilized, okay? Once price stabilized, we were around, again, $10,000. Let's see how quickly it took to do a 6x in Bitcoin, okay? So right here is when we really started to make our first move. And essentially here we topped out. We went a little higher here, but we really began to top out right about here. So now this is weeks, and it's 22 bars. So that is in 5.5 months. So I want you to keep in mind that in 5, and was it here? No, really here. If we're going to say doing a 6x, we did a 6x in just under 5 months. These are the things that people forget about. That when things really start to pick up space, just like it sucks. It sucks, and I feel you guys. How many times have I joked? If you've been here for a while, it's tongue in cheek, but I've gone from a fleet of Lambos. Well, I've gone from a fleet of Geometros to a fleet of Lambos, back to a fleet of Geometros. Essentially, that's how it feels, at least emotionally. But I ran this bad boy up, didn't see the correction coming, and had my investment portfolio suffer as a result, right? But just like there are risks to the downside with being invested in such a risky asset, boy, I'll tell you what, when this thing runs and it gets hot, Jesus almighty, there is no other market you want to be in because the rate of appreciation and the time in which it takes is unlike no other, okay? This is the thing that happens when people get emotional with their investments and emotional with this correction. They forget that when things start churning and things start moving, it happens very quickly. I encourage you, look, I know I'm right there with you, okay? 2022 was a brutal year. It was a motherfucking awful year. It was horrible, okay? I would invite you the opportunity to take a moment to pause and think to yourself, in order to be successful, this guy right here on YouTube is saying, I need to be unemotional and logical with my investments. If this guy is really correct, okay, if he's really correct and this correction's over, and we're going to begin bouncing and creating higher highs and higher lows, and Bitcoin really is going massively higher, and it happens really quick, I need to really think about when I want to sell. Um, I'm sharing this information to hopefully benefit you. Okay. I've made plenty of mistakes along the way, but what I'm saying is it's going to benefit you handsomely if you know today, how you want to sell tomorrow, because it will happen quick. You're going to have these euphoric runs. We're going to come up here at 20. I would suspect once we get up to this 25, because I've spoken to this before, once we get up to this 25.2 area, we're going to reject. I'd be surprised if we slice through it like a hot knife through butter. I'd be very impressed, but I would be very cautious because I would think we would be due for a major correction. But we might slice up to this area and then correct all the way down here to about 20,000. What are you going to do? And then we might slice up to this area, and then we might correct down here. What are you going to do? And then we might slice up to this area and pierce through and stabilize in here. What are you going to do? You need to know the answer to these questions, because I will tell you this. The other thing is going from one emotional extreme. This is an emotional extreme. Going to the next emotional extreme, if you're not tempered in your emotions and your investment strategy, you're not going to do well. Like you're not going to do well. And I want to see everyone who has taken the time to click on the little thing and listen to me right now, even if you're not watching me, because I do that shit too. I multitask and I just listen. I don't watch. That's cool. I respect that. I try to set the channel up in that way many times where you can just listen to me. You don't even have to watch the screen. Quite honestly, half the time I don't even feel like being on video, but I've heard this is a more personal approach, so I come on video. I don't even feel like being on video. But people at work can attest to that. I don't like going on video. But what I'm trying to share with you, if you've taken the time to click on the link and watch this, I respect each and every single one of you. I don't know you personally, but I respect each and every single one of you just for being invested in this space, just for taking time out of your day for wanting to learn about it, listening to what I have to say. And so as a result of that, okay, I have respect for you. I want to see you succeed. I genuinely want to see you succeed as a person, as an individual, for your family, for yourself, okay? So I'm trying to share genuine knowledge that I have, and I'm trying to, as I always say in my videos, I'm trying to carry it forward. Okay, whatever I learn, I'm genuinely trying to share it with you so you can benefit. Maybe you can learn something from it and you can share it with someone else. Okay, but take this information, do with it what you will, but really digest it. Go back, watch the video again if there's key points that you want to listen to what I'm saying. But each and every one of you can be successful. I have no doubts that any single person on this video right now, I don't know who the hell you are, but I have no doubts that you as a person can be successful. You just have to set yourself up to be successful in the right ways. If you take the time and you're diligent about it and you're patient about it and you're consistent about how you're buying and selling and you have a sound strategy, you can be successful. Anyone can be successful. You have to have the right mindset and do the right amount of work. So with that being said, you can tell I'm real passionate about this shit. I really am. I want to see everyone listening succeed. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so Kevin won. Long supporter of the channel. Appreciate you, brother, tuning in. Kevin won. I'm out of my cinnamon whiskey, man. That was really good. Kevin one here says that he keeps hearing Bitcoin to 12,000. Well, look, like I said, there's a probability for everything. I can't tell you on this channel that I will never let me and catch me if I ever say something like this, which I could never see myself saying like this. I will never definitively tell you what's going to happen. I'm giving you my educated view, right? So I can't sit here and say, well, Bitcoin isn't going to 12,000. What I would tell you is my view of that statement. It's an emotional bias based on this correction, which I just spoke to. I do not see Bitcoin going to 12,000. Okay, I think at this point the probabilities of that are very low. So I give that no thought. I think that is something we will look back on many months from now, Bitcoin going to 12,000 this year. that is something we will look back on and laugh and be like, are you fucking kidding me? We're up at 30, 40, 50,000. Okay. That's my view. What else we got here? Connor, thank you for the positive feedback. Yeah, I got the blue check mark on Twitter. There is one and only one. No pun intended, actually. One. There can be only one. Harmony one. There could be only one crypto bull god. I got the black check mark. Wow, that's unique to crypto bull god. No, I got the blue check mark. So appreciate that. It's worth the $8 a month. I mean, honestly, I'm paying $8 a month. I can afford it. I'm passionate about this space. I'm on Twitter all the time, and I want you guys to know who I am. So I don't want people. I had somebody imitating me earlier. I don't want that bullshit going on. So, um, one is anything but dead. I wish I had my clicker. You damn right, Kevin. One is anything but dead. I do not believe that for a moment. Just closed out my H bar long. Caught that one from your video the other day. Falling wedges having been amazing place. Hey Brian, I'm glad. You know what? There is a portion of my portfolio. I've spoken to this. I would say it's approximately I would say approximately 95 to 93% of my portfolio, 93 to 95% of my portfolio is a long-term investment. The other 5 to 7% I actively trade. Okay? So I've pulled up, for example, I've spoken to ACH, Alchemy Pay. I've spoken to UMA, which I'm still sitting in a trade. I sold a bunch of my ACH. I actually transferred some of it into UMA because I'm still expecting a massive move in UMA. But I do the same thing. So props to you. You know what? If my video helped you out, you got a trade based off of H bar hitting up what? What did it actually hit? Did it hit up towards 6.2 cents? Let's see what it hit. Wow, look at that. I'm glad I could help out. We hit we hit 6.22 cents. Um, that's awesome, Brian. I'm glad you could benefit on that because so here's what Kevin did. Let me tell you the smart thing that Kevin did. Kevin had a long position in H bar, and this is what I'm discerning from what he's saying. What he did from my video is okay. So Crypto Bull God puts out this H bar video. What he's saying is it's going to be massively bullish if we can get in this orange circle between 6.2 and 10.8 cents, right? But what Kevin recognizes is because we're below this red line of resistance, okay, it's an area of price confluence. It used to act as an area of support. Because we're below it, as we start to come up to it, it's going to act as an area of resistance. So I'm assuming based on Brian's reply here, he entered a long back here in the falling wedge, okay, that I talked about in the H bar video, and he started selling as we started getting up 0.6 towards 0.62 cents, 6.2 cents, because what he realized is that more than likely we wouldn't slice through this thing like a knife through hot butter. We would hit resistance. So, Brian, I give you a lot of props, man. I'm glad I could help you out. Glad I could help you out. Have a look at H bar, man. All right. Have a look at H bar, man. Okay, never mind. I read that wrong. Sometimes when you're live and you read something. Yeah, no, I was speaking to H bar, Camu. H bar is definitely pumping. H bar isn't anything I actively trade. I have a sizable position. I don't my own personal positions and the size of them. I'm never going to disclose that stuff. I don't mind disclosing if I hold something or if it's a sizable or small position or I trade it or invest it. That shit's my own personal information. I would only share that closest with my spouse or significant other. That's nothing I would share on a live stream or on a YouTube video or Twitter. But I will say that I hold a significant amount of H bar. It's significant deemed to me, but I'm invested. I believe in the technology. I believe in the organization Hedera, and believe in the long-term potentials of getting within the top 20 and even potentially more down the road here. I hope you think we're going higher than 25,000 for a retracement. Well, look, Evan, I don't know. I can't tell you with certainty, and no one can. I can't tell you with certainty where we're going to initially get rejected because the reality is right now we've hit up against 21,000 and we're just fucking consolidating. We'll get into this. We'll get into this golden cross here, which I'm going to talk about when it makes sense. But right now, all we're doing is consolidating. We have not had a hard correction. What I will tell you is this. 20 for purposes that I tweeted out. If you're not following me, by the way, Evan, on Twitter, make sure to give me a follow. I have spoken to the $25,200 area as being a major area of price confluence. Look at this. We're under the 200 simple moving average, which is the pink line. 25.2 is also a major area of resistance, okay? Because it was a major area of support. Now that we've broken below it, it's resistance. 200 SMA, it was a major area of support because we're above it. Now that we're below it, is resistance. Look at this major price confluence in here. Look, we got a moving average in the area of resistance. Okay? So I'm saying to you that the odds are, I'm not telling you with certainty what's going to happen. The odds are we're going to come up here and get rejected around this level and have a healthy correction. Okay? Could we slice up past 25.2 and go to 29.5 or 30 or 33 and then correct back down to the 200 simple and just kind of consolidate? That would be massively bullish if that happened. If we did something like this, if we just smashed through here, came up here, and then came back here and started going up, first off, that would be massively bullish. Secondly, do I think it's possible? Of course it's possible. I just think it's less possible, less probable. So I think the first major area that we have to be concerned with, the 22.5 is an area, but I think this 25.2 and the 200 SMA, major area of price confluence. So many traders, investors, people who can read charts are looking at that area, I guarantee you. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what happens around that price level. Josh, I'm glad you're pumped to be here. I'm very pumped to be here. I think CBG is going to be coming out, and if you don't know CBG in true CBG form, I think CBG is going to be getting in true crypto bull god fashion later this year. There have not been any Macho promos, but we need to get back to that shit soon. It's just been way too salty. Macho Man's been staring at the candle for a long time. The crypto bull god has been. My spot BTC will be happy if it keeps going up to 25, but I kind of want it to come back and test 18 so I can ape into leverage longs. Yeah, that's interesting. It's somebody who is keen on the market. Evan, and you seem like somebody who's very keen on the market. You recognize that this looks like a real healthy bounce and could be something much more significant, and we've likely bottomed. So you're like, look, I want this thing to start coming down before it really begins to rally. I feel you. And who knows? I mean, we could. There's no reason, especially looking at the 12-hour, there's no reason that price all of a sudden couldn't dip off and come down here to rest right on the 200 simple moving average on the 12-hour and then continue moving up. It's certainly very possible. Certainly very possible. Although, personally, I'll tell you what I'd like to see. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see actually a further push up of some sort and then a healthy correction. And the reason for that is it'll really cause this 200 SMA to begin to curl up. And that's critical to the success of these charts. You want to see a golden cross in the 12-hour, but one of the most critical things, and we'll get into it in another video, you need to see the 200 SMA curl up on the 12-hour, because if that starts to happen, and to a higher degree that the degree to which this is a little bit more steep of a curve, it has a much higher likelihood of indicating that bullish momentum is truly picking up in the market, and we're going to see something substantial moving forward. So that's personally what I'd like to see. Evan, you have a short with a stop above 21.75 to hedge your longs. Okay. Yeah, I don't short, but I mean, 21.75. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. You're looking for chart analysis on Digibyte, huh? All right, I can touch on that. Yeah, Kevin Bolin is talking about filling his bag at 18.2. It's interesting. When you look at this chart here, okay, it is quite possible that prices could dip as low as 1,800 here. And typically, given as volatile as this asset is Bitcoin, we start to come down to this 200 SMA in the 12-hour. You're more than likely going to get a wick below. You could get a wick into the 17.8, 17. Hell, you could get a wick into right in this area here. Where's this at? Yeah, this is 17.8. maybe as low as hell. You could even dip to 17.3. So I just don't. I don't play the short game. I don't play the short, lower time frame trading strategies um, for the most part on a lot of these crypto assets. If I trade, if I'm making a trade, because I did comment that 5 to 7% of my portfolio is a trade, it's more of a swing trade position that I might keep for several weeks. Okay, it's nothing that I'm like day trading or anything like that. I don't enjoy the day trading. Let's take a look at Digibyte. So someone's asking a question on Digibyte. YC actually, who's been a pretty strong supporter of the channel, pretty consistently here. What I would say about Digibyte, this is the number one chart I'm looking at. This is a monthly chart. Let's get this off. This is a monthly chart. Let's get off the price indicators. You can see the trend pattern. I've spoken to this forever. I have a video out on Digibyte. We're starting to press up against this trend line again, okay, which we've done before. But this is the more critical thing I'm watching. This is the RSI. Let's not focus on the MACD for the moment. Look at the RSI. Now, if you notice, when the purple, which is the actual RSI, crosses above the orange, which is a moving average, a simple moving average in the RSI, when we get that cross, look what happens. Cross here led to all of this. A cross here led to all of this. Okay? So what I'm saying is, just using past history, if we get a cross here, history's telling us that we have a pretty good likelihood of starting to excel massively in price. And as you can see here, okay, keeping that in mind, with the January candlestick, look, the cross to me right here looks like it's about to occur. Now, what this is implying is, if we get a cross in January, I'll tell you what, these next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months might get really, really, really interesting for Digibyte. I have my own personal price levels I'm looking for, which I don't think I've discussed yet. Maybe I'll save that for a future video, but that's what I'm looking at on Digibyte. And the other thing I'll real quick comment on Digibyte is this falling wedge I've spoken to. This is a monthly view. Let's get off the price indicators. This is a monthly view on price data. You can see this is a monthly falling wedge, okay? And this is the approximate target of the falling wedge depending when we break out. I have the breakout in July. But depending where it breaks out, that's the technical target. But I see a falling wedge on the Digibyte BTC price relationship on the monthly, which is really interesting. Thank you for everyone new tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. Drop me a comment here and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon for notifications. You know, I wanted to get into real quick, and I don't know how much more time we'll have beyond this, so get your questions in. But one of my stronger supporters had asked me questions on the Holy Crypto Trinity, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Harmony One, not too much has changed here. Randy, I actually want to put out one video next week. So actually, let me hold off on making comments on one because I'm going to put a video dedicated to one next week. So let's hold off on the commentary on one, actually. But let's talk about HBAR and Mana. So not surprisingly, as mentioned before, HBAR is testing up against this 6.2 cent area. It should be no surprise that we're facing heavy resistance here. I want to see it get in this box. This is ultimately the box I want to see it get in. Now I have a 12-hour chart on here. Let's get to a 3-day. I was doing some of my own personal analysis on the chart on a lower time frame. But you can see here, ultimately what we want to see price, in my opinion, consolidate right in between 10.8 and 6.2 cents. We should start to gain a higher level of confidence once we start to clear 10.8 cents, okay? And the level that I was really talking about in HBAR was 21.4, roughly 21.4. Now, I think this is going to take several months to pan out. But once we start to get up to past 21.4, that's when I'm going to start to get uber bullish that this target here of 58, the all-time high, is going to get tested and broken, okay? That's what I would watch for on HBAR. There isn't, we're just breaking out of this falling wedge. I spoke in the HBAR video about this being a fake out, and we've ultimately broken out. It's no surprise we're getting rejected at 6.2 cents. No surprise there. As Brian noted, no surprise he took a long trade on it. How about Mana? Guys, Mana looked so ridiculously oversold, and I kept tweeting on this. And I said, guys, you have the opportunity down here to buy at price levels not seen since the beginning of 2021. Guys, we were at 30 fucking cents. We were below. I remember looking at Mana at 28 cents. It looked like it reached, yeah, it reached 28.4 cents. I remember looking at Mana at 28.4 cents, and we're sitting at 64 cents. Again, we've broken out of this downward trend of resistance. Let's put it on a weekly because I think that's how I drew it. It looks very healthy. Maybe it was on a 2 week. Let's see. I don't know how the hell I had that drawn. You'll have to excuse me. I don't know how this downward resistance is drawn, but let's redraw the line of downward resistance. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I used some time frame to draw this, but it's not accurate at the moment. Let's do that. So you can see we've broken out of downward resistance. This is on a weekly. The other thing that's encouraging to see, stochastic RSI looks good. The RSI is at a healthy 48, kind of neutral healthy. Look at the MACD curling up. Look at the MACD getting green. Look at this histogram picking up in green. But the price is the big thing. Now, for Mana, what we could see happen here, we could see price come all the way down to this descending resistance and back test, even this green line at 50 cents, 49 cents, and then just continue moving up into this area well over $1. Mana looks extremely healthy. And it's very encouraging we broke out above this descending resistance. Very encouraging. All right, guys. What I want you to do, if you haven't, is subscribe to the channel. I'm going to couple quick things before everybody logs off here. I'm going to do the weekly close. I'm still going to stick with the Bitcoin Crypto weekly close next Monday. Okay, next Monday I'll be traveling on Sunday, so I'll be unavailable. But on Monday I will do that, and then I'll putting out a Harmony One video next week. Look for an announcement at some point in the next couple weeks. Kind of some changes to the channel in terms of doing more TA videos over live streams. And yeah, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you get notifications for when I do go live or when I put out a video. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for the comments. And until next time, spread awareness. Carry the education forward, guys.